Volkswagen's second-generation Tiguan has widened its market reach in this lengthened Allspace guise to include those who want a third seating row in their mid-sized SUV. Could it be all the car you'll ever really need? The Wolfsburg brand is hoping that potential buyers will see this model in just that way. You wouldn't expect the changes made to this slightly lengthened Allspace model to have much effect on drive dynamics, nor have they. If anything, the stretched wheelbase has had a positive effect on this model's road-going demeanour, the extra weight and longer stance helping the suspension smooth over bumps through higher speed corners. Ride quality is an established strength of the ordinary Tiguan and remains an attribute here, aided immeasurably by the high-tech MQB platform that sits beneath the bodywork. You'll want to know about engines. Well, the lineup dispenses with the feeblest petrol and diesel units offered in the standard Tiguan range, but is otherwise identical, and, as with that ordinary model, is heavily orientated towards diesel power. 2-litre diesel power, to be specific. Wolfsburg's venerable TDI unit is available in 3 states of tune, with 150, 190 and 240 PS outputs. There are also 2 petrol options, a 150 PS 1.4-litre unit and a 180 PS 2-litre power plant. Top engines come only with DSG auto transmission and 4Motion 4-wheel drive, but if you go for the volume 2-litre TDI 150 PS diesel variant we're trying here, you can add both those 2 systems in as options. More than half of Allspace buyers go for the 4Motion option, not only because it delivers extra off-road prowess, but also because it'll increase the brake towing capability by nearly half a tonne to 2,400 kilograms. It's activated by 4Motion Active Control, a rotary dial below the gear stick that enables you to switch between on and off-road modes. Keep it in the tarmac settings and you'll obviously get a bit more running cost efficiency, which in the case of the 2-litre TDI diesel model, the 150 PS variant is rated at 56.5 miles to the gallon on the combined cycle and 131 grams per kilometre of CO2. In Allspace form, this Tiguan ought to be just slightly bigger, which of course it is, but somehow the changes made in creating this larger model have created something more. From this central B-pillar backwards, everything's been redesigned to allow for the 215 millimetres of additional length. Now, as part of that, the wheelbase is 106 millimetres longer, stretching between black plastic-trimmed wheel arches, housing rims of either 18 or 20 inches in size. The bodywork of this bigger variant follows a different contour from that of the standard model, and the rear part of the side window design features a sharper curve upwards, where it rises directly behind the C-pillar. The roof's new too, featuring its own unique set of structural lines and framed by these standard silver roof rails. More surprisingly, there are also changes at the front, where the radiator grille is higher in comparison to the standard car. Plus, the bonnet is more upright at the front and carries different accent lines from front to rear. All well and good, but what you'll really want to know is just how much difference the Allspace design changes have made in terms of luggage capacity and rear seat room. Time to see. We'll start with the impact on passenger space and passenger access. Now, that's aided hugely by these much longer rear doors. Most of the time, of course, the folks you're carrying will want to take a pew here in the middle row, where Volkswagen says they'll enjoy 54 millimetres more knee room than they get in an ordinary Tiguan. That's assuming this rear bench is set in the correct position. As in the ordinary model, it can slide in separate sections backwards or forwards over a range of 180 millimetres. What about the third row seating? Volkswagen suggests that this area is ideally suited to folk of less than 5 feet 2 inches in height, children in other words. Should you have really drawn the short straw and be confined back here as an adult, then as usual in a mid-sized 7-seat SUV, you'll find that the high floor line necessitated by having to make space for a four-wheel drive system means that your knees will be a little uncomfortably positioned up towards your chest. Still, if those in the middle row can be persuaded to push their bench forward, it'd be bearable back here for fully sized folk on shorter trips. Okay, so we've covered the additional room that this bigger Allspace body style frees up for people. But what about packages? Once the hatch is raised, the room you'll have to play with depends, of course, on whether the third row chairs are upright. If they are, you'll have 230 litres of carriage space. Now, if you need more room, then folding these third row chairs into the floor is easy, provided the second row seats aren't pushed all the way back. If they're pushed all the way forward, then once you've done that, you'll have 700 litres of space to play with, 85 litres more than you'd get in the similarly configured boot of an ordinary Tiguan. If you need to flatten the middle backrest, then you can do it by using these neat latches on either sidewall on each side of the cargo bay. Now that frees up 1,775 litres of space, 120 litres more than an ordinary Tiguan can offer. Enough on the spatial advantages that this Allspace body style can offer. Let's finish with a focus on an area of this larger Tiguan model that hasn't changed, the front seat environment, and remind ourselves just why a seat behind the wheel of this Volkswagen SUV persuades so many potential customers to buy one. Basically, the appeal is that here you're getting near premium segment quality and near volume segment pricing. The extra technology on offer helps with this impression, and it's certainly something that your dealer salesperson will want to emphasise. You get more of it in the Allspace as all variants come complete with the upgraded Discover Navigation version of the brand's classy 8-inch glass-fronted centre dash infotainment display. As well as sat-nav, this touchscreen effectively deals with all the usual DAB stereo, Bluetooth phone and car informational functions. As with the ordinary Tiguan model, provided you don't expect this Allspace derivative to be among the cheaper choices in this segment, then there's very little not to like. It's beautifully built, efficient to run, easy to live with and practical to own. Other segment alternatives make similar claims, but after trying them following a Tiguan Allspace test drive, you might end up feeling you'd be prepared to pay just a touch more for Volkswagen ownership. And we'd understand it if you did.